sit down, I do this part.
Oh, you would?
I asked you.
She did ask.
I did ask.
I get talking and won't shut up.
Yeah,
Kinda like being at
well,
home, guys.
I do that a little bit myself, thanks, Dan. So, our third place Patriots pen is going to begin. This is Ashley Ramnarine. She is in 6th grade at Westlake Elementary, and she's going to read her essay, and you're going to come up here. Yeah. No pressure. Go ahead. You can tell the title.
Please.
At this point, you can say who you are and everything, so you're no longer blind judging.
How I am inspired by America. America is inspiring in many ways. I am inspired by the history of America and what America was a part of. If you look back at history, big things happened that changed lives. These things shaped the future to what it is now. The Civil War, for example. Sometimes there's no room for compromise, and you just must see who wins. This saying is also sometimes used now and was used throughout the years after the war. Sometimes you have to agree to disagree about a subject. It might make sense, it might not. All that matters is that the subject is settled after the disagreement. Another example often talked about is when women were allowed to vote. I know it's a bit stereotypical, but it was just as important for men to vote as for women to vote in different elections for presidents, mayors, and such. Think about it. Because on January 20th, 2020, we had a female vice president. Kamala Harris was the first female VP, but not the last. Many girls were inspired by this because it told them that if they worked hard towards a goal, they can achieve it. The next example involves our troops, the soldiers who fight to protect our country. The families of these troops are sometimes terrified that their soldier won't come home. They cry when they're told their family can't come back home because they made the ultimate sacrifice. It's terrible, but they knew the price for having a soldier and their family going off to war. The point is that our soldiers are our first line of defense and our saviors that try to prevent anything bad from happening to America and its territories. Therefore, I am proud to be an American. There are many opportunities open to me because of the men and women who fought and persuaded this country for their rights. These rights are also the right of every American today. History shows that you can agree to disagree, that women can do anything if they work hard enough, and that our troops are the first and best line of defense who will always protect and defend America and its citizens. These are some of the ways that history has come to shape America to what it is today. Therefore, I am and forever will be inspired by America.
And now Commander Dan Siegel will give you.
We have a certificate. And we will go over yours. I'll let you have this first. It's a check. Just in time for Christmas. I want to read the certificate on the award that we're giving Ashley. Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States and Auxiliary. Youth Essay Award Citation presented to Ashley Ramnarine, excuse me, in sincere appreciation and recognition of valuable cooperation and assistance rendered in behalf of our nation's youth. And then we signed it. And where am I? Can we get a picture here?
Here's Mom.
I love having a picture too. Let's see the picture just a little bit. Smile for the camera. All right.
Our second place winner in the Patriots pen is Alexander Frizzell, 8th grader, and he's homeschooled.
Inspired by opportunities. Ralph Waldo Emerson, a prolific poet and essayist, famously said, "America is another word for opportunity. Truer words have never been spoken." Every year, 1.5 million people immigrate to the United States because they know of the opportunities that they will have living here. They come to the United States because they want the opportunity to be free. They come to the United States because they want the opportunity to have a job of their choice. They come to the United States because they want the opportunity to keep their kids safe. They come to the United States because they want the opportunity to believe whatever they choose. All of these things may not be available to them in their home of origin. Because we as United States citizens have these rights, we have endless opportunities. I will be able to vote for a president who I think is a good person and who I think will do a good job, instead of having him or her imposed on us. Instead of having to work just so my family can stay fed, I can act like a teenager, hang out with friends, and get an education. The land of opportunity has benefited all of its citizens, as well as countless immigrants who have come seeking a better life. Because I have these opportunities, I can use what I have gained and help other people who have come to the U.S. for these opportunities. Immigrating is challenging, especially for kids moving to a different country where they don't know anyone and everyone is different from them. I was friends with two such Afghani kids in our old neighborhood, and while they seem to fit into the community well, it is not the same for everyone. I hope to continue reaching out to immigrants and helping to give them support, aid, and friendship. This will help them as they set up new homes and begin to get to know the community. I'm inspired to help others as they start on the path to becoming U.S. citizens, getting many more opportunities in their lives.
Wow. Hit your wagon to a star.
There you go. A rising star. All right.
Another round.
And again, same certificate, Youth Essay Award citation, in sincere appreciation and recognition of valuable cooperation and assistance rendered on behalf of our nation's youth.
Thank you so much.
Now, look that way.
Oh, this way? Come this way. Got it? Wait for a flash.
And now our first place winner in Patriots pen is Colin Fabric. He is an 8th grader at Our Lady of Mount Carmel.
I'm inspired by America for many reasons, but the main reason is how Americans came together in times of need and worked together as a team to achieve the greater good. This was shown during the colonial times. The colonists were a part of the British territory. The colonists elected representatives to gather at meetings and speak on their behalf. There, they agreed that they needed independence and talked about what would be best for a new nation. They established the colonial army and organized various regiments for the 13 colonies. They were representatives, elected leaders, who would lead the army and the regiments. These soldiers came together from all corners of the colonies and beat the most powerful nation in the world. This is what inspires me to be a better leader in my Boy Scout troop. Recently, my troop elected me to be their senior patrol leader, which is like being the president of my scouting troop. I organize the scouts into patrols like the regiments in the colonial army. Also, as a lead scout, I select scouts to do specific jobs, such as bugler and scribe, just like the colonists did with the commanding generals in the army. I lead discussions at the end of the meeting with the other leaders, and we talk about how we can improve the activities of the troop. This meeting time is comparable to the representatives meeting to discuss what they can do to make the colonies better for the people or the common good. If the colonists had not elected representatives, went to meetings, or strive for the common good, America would look different because we would not have all the freedoms that we have. Although the mission of Boy Scouts is not to prepare for wars against the most powerful nations on earth, I can still take inspiration from their accomplishments in what I do today. They led by example, an example I draw from today, by organizing the scouts in my troop, electing leaders who represent the other scouts, and leading meetings that discuss the needs and the direction of the whole troop. The colonies came together to find the common good, just as we the people do today, and that is how I am most inspired by America. It's time to ring the bell.
Okay, I'm gonna do one more. Hold on. 1, 2, 3.
Before we move on to the Voice of Democracy, we also have a certificate for the other entry. So Timothy Frizzell, we have a certificate. We don't have a check for you.
You can stay
But
right there if you. I see you've got
I'll give this to you, okay?
Sure.
Hopefully it's the right one.
You don't want
it.
to
Was it
crush that
skiing
big.
accident?
How did you know?
Seriously?
So there you go, and you get one too, a nice certificate. All right, so no? Okay. So Voice of Democracy, high schoolers, that's a lot bigger road to hoe, because sometimes you can write things down and then they come out good, but when you do the Voice of Democracy, we're also judging you on how you deliver your speech. Now, it just so happens that our first and second place winners are in the same family. They're both my piano students, so I know them quite well. And for reasons that do not matter to this assembly, Chloe, who is our second place winner, will not be reading her speech tonight. So please come up here and get your check from Dan Seabolt.
Oh, you got a flash, that's
Oh,
good.
I did this for you. Yay, Chloe.
Stand.
Trust me, it was lovely. And finally, Peyton. Now, actually, let's see, you're the older twin, right? Yeah. So the younger twin is going to read her speech, and this is Peyton Gray. She is a 9th grader at Tab High School.
A democracy is a government with the freedom to choose, also known as agency. A democracy also includes the voice of the people, which is the majority. These two things are unique to our government. In the United States, we have democracy with checks and balances. These checks and balances make sure one group doesn't influence or take over the rest, and checks to make sure that their right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is protected. Not one person or part of the government can be in total control. The freedom Americans have to choose for themselves should never be taken for granted. It is a privilege that some do not have, and that makes our country special among others. Our democracy is great because there are people voted into office to represent the people. We have the House of Representatives, which makes up positions based on population. This also means that the voice of the people is the majority in those areas. However, the House of Representatives cannot make laws without the Senate. The Senate makes up 2 elected senators from every state, regardless of the state's population. This means that large populated states like California, New York, and Florida cannot control all the federal government. States like Alaska, Delaware, and Idaho all have the same weight in the Senate, despite having fewer representatives in the House. This is another great example of checks and balances that our democracy has. Our democracy is founded on the Constitution, which focuses on 3 bodies of government: the legislative, judicial, and executive branches. The legislative branch creates laws as our country evolves. The executive branch enforces the laws. The judicial branch evaluates laws using court systems to make sure that people are following them. The government is successful when it works with the other branches to make sure rights and powers are protected. Our government gives each branch separate but equal powers to make sure that the United States remains a free nation, that all Americans have the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Democracy is effective when citizens' rights are protected. Founding fathers also helped design our democracy to escape the rule of the king or monarchy. Founding fathers also did this to avoid taxation without representation. I will never take for granted the great country I live in, because one day I will be voting and taking action for my country and leaders to do better. I also believe in the system of checks and balances so that the power of making decisions falls into the right hands. We're beyond blessed to live in a democracy with freedom of speech, religion, and many other rights that other nations do not enjoy. Our democracy is unique and ultimately protects the life, liberty, pursuit of happiness for all U.S. citizens.
Everybody smiles, I hand them a check.
Yay.
Okay, that concludes the entertaining part of our presentation. That puts me to the eating part. But I just want to say a few words. Thank you all for coming today, of course, and it's really gratifying. Every year we do this. And of course, I work with 2 scout troops, as I said earlier. To see the youth taking an interest in doing this sort of thing, it's not easy. It's not easy to stand in front of a group. Writing a paper is one thing, but actually presenting it, that can be terrifying. But I'm glad to see you all did come out to do it. We appreciate it. And it gives us hope that the country's going to be in good hands in a few years. Because I'm going to need a lot of help when I hit that old folks home. You know that. We do appreciate it.
Very quickly, I just want to say, fantastic. I love it every time I see it. But the next step in it is it's going to the district, okay? So you should hear word in the not too distant future how you did it district. Okay? And then it goes to state, and they'll decide whatever they want to decide, and you'll get a stipend for that also. And then each one gives you a little stipend. We actually give the most because we enjoy the process so much. And then it goes to national. Now, do you know what first place in national gets? $30,000. It went to
$35,000.
It went to 35. But there are many prizes, like $1,000 prizes. I mean, they got a long list of about 25 or 30 stages of amounts of money for you in that process. So, you know, good luck if you need it, because if you're good, you don't need it. You just gotta keep being good, and I think you all are fantastic.
Thanks. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you all for
I'm
sharing.
gonna put a plug in for next year.
Yes.
This happens at the beginning of the school year every year. It's very hard to get this into the parents' minds, because the kids have to do the work, but the parents need to know about it. But especially, if you got a check today, you should be able to tell the people, hey, you're my age, maybe you can do this next year. And I would expect each one of you to continue to do this. So this year, first place in Patriots Pen. Next year, maybe first place in Voice of Democracy, but you'll have her, you know, breathing down your neck. We have cookies in the kitchen here, and we have sodas that are in the fridge, and you can have those, and there's some other things too. Go ahead.
I was
and
gonna
finish.
say, also, if you're Patriots Pen, if you're middle school this year, try every year. As long as you're in middle school, try every year while you're in high school. You come in every year and do it again and again. We've had consecutive winners. A few years ago,
One
we
that
had
did
one
like
winner
7 years
win
in a row.
twice.
They
Yes,
went
Several
all the
years.
way up.
all the way to the top. So it's a challenge, but life is challenging, and you all have already met the first step of the challenge. Keep on doing it. We look forward to seeing you back next year. Now go get some cookies and sodas and whatever.
Enjoy
Load
a
up with the
little bit.
caffeine
Let's
and the
talk.
sugar, and then go home to mom and dad. That's why I like being a grandparent. I
how's
can load you up and then send you home.
So how did
Thank
you?
you.
Thank you all.
Let's spend it all.